Hello everyone, tuning in to the Journey of Regeneration channel. Today, we're going to delve into an incredibly important topic, a warning that I believe all of us, especially those in our golden years, need to hear and understand. Seniors, pause for a moment. You might be unknowingly destroying your brain right now. I'm not trying to scare you, but what if I told you that something you do every single day, perhaps multiple times a day, is literally shrinking your brain faster than natural aging ever could? Scientists at UCLA just discovered that people who engage in this one common habit have brains that appear 10 years older on brain scans. Not 5 years, but a full 10 years older. And here's the most terrifying part. Over 70% of seniors practice this habit daily, thinking it's completely harmless or even beneficial. But the reality is quite the opposite. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what accelerates dementia, backed by shocking studies that made researchers do double takes at their own data. Before we dive into all 7 brain-destroying habits, let me tell you about number 1 on our list. It's something so common that when Japanese researchers studied 20,000 people for 15 years, they found that those who practiced this habit had a 68% higher chance of developing dementia. Yes, 68%. That's not a typo. And the worst part is, most doctors don't even warn their patients about it because it seems so innocent. Before we begin, tell us in the comments below your age and where you're watching us from. We're reading and replying to every single comment, so please share with us. Now, without any further ado, let's get started on our discovery. 2. Brain-damaging habits, from minor to most dangerous. A. Habit number 7. Skipping your morning walk. Let's start with something that seems minor, but packs a massive punch against your brain health: skipping your morning walk. When you skip physical activity, especially that morning walk, you're essentially telling your brain to start shutting down early. A study from the University of British Columbia looked at 6,000 adults over age 65 for 8 years. The results were mind-blowing. People who walked less than 4,000 steps a day had hippocampus volumes, your memory center, that were 23% smaller than active walkers. When your hippocampus shrinks, you start to forget where you put your keys. Then you forget names. Then you forget faces. But here's what truly shocked researchers. It's not about intense exercise. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. The magic happens with just 30 minutes of moderate walking daily. When you walk, your heart pumps more oxygen-rich blood to your brain. This triggers the release of something called BDNF, brain-derived neuronic factor. Think of BDNF as a miracle growth fertilizer for your brain cells. Without it, your neurons literally start dying off faster than your body can replace them. The best time for this walk is within 2 hours of waking up. Morning sunlight hitting your eyes sets your circadian rhythm, which helps your brain clean out toxic proteins at night. These proteins, called beta-amyloid plaques, are what build up in Alzheimer's patients' brains. A Stanford study found that morning walkers had 40% less beta-amyloid buildup compared to afternoon exercisers. To get maximum benefits, walk at a pace where you can talk, but you'd rather not talk too much because you're a bit winded. This sweet spot increases blood flow to your prefrontal cortex by 35%. Add some variety to your route because new visual stimulation creates new neural pathways. If it's safe, try walking backward for 30 seconds every 5 minutes. This simple trick activates different brain regions and improves balance, which is directly linked to cognitive function. Your brain actually grows new cells when you walk regularly. The University of Pittsburgh proved this by scanning brains before and after a 6-month walking program. Participants' hippocampus regions grew by 2%. That might sound small, but it reverses 1 to 2 years of normal aging. If you have knee or hip problems, try walking in a pool. The resistance of water actually increases the brain benefits by 20%, according to research from the University of South Carolina. B. Habit number 6. Taking sleep aids regularly. Next, speaking of things that seem harmless but destroy your brain, habit number 6 will shock you because it's something your doctor might have actually recommended. It is taking sleep aids regularly. Those little pills that promise peaceful sleep might be fast-tracking you to memory loss. A Harvard study that followed 10,000 seniors for 7 years dropped a bombshell on the medical community. People who took sleep medications like Ambien, Lunesta, or even over-the-counter sleep aids with diphenhydramine for more than 3 months had a 50% higher risk of developing dementia. Yes, 50%. And if they took them for 3 years or more, that risk jumped to 80%. And here's the most terrifying part. Over 70% of seniors practice this habit daily, thinking it's completely harmless or even beneficial. But the reality is quite the opposite. Medications don't give you real sleep. They sedate you. There's a huge difference. Real sleep has specific stages where your brain literally washes itself clean. During deep sleep, your brain cells shrink by 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flush out toxic proteins. Sleep medications suppress these cleaning cycles. It's like never taking out the trash. Eventually, your house becomes unlivable and your brain becomes unusable. Dr. Matthew Walker from UC Berkeley studied brain scans of people using sleep aids versus natural sleepers. The sleep aid users had 45% less slow-wave sleep, the stage where memory consolidation happens. They also had 70% less REM sleep, where emotional processing and creativity occurs. Your brain on sleeping pills is like a computer that never fully shuts down to install updates. Eventually, it crashes. And the insidious part is withdrawal from sleep aids makes insomnia worse, creating a vicious cycle. Your brain forgets how to fall asleep naturally. Instead of pills, try the military sleep method that works for 96% of people within 6 weeks. First, cool your bedroom to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, or approximately 19 degrees Celsius. Your brain needs to drop 2 degrees to initiate sleep. Take a hot shower or bath 90 minutes before bed. When you get out, your body temperature plummets, triggering sleepiness. Eat 2 kiwis 1 hour before bed. I know it sounds weird, but Taipei Medical University found this increases sleep duration by 13% and sleep quality by 42%. Kiwis contain serotonin and antioxidants that regulate sleep cycles. If you can't stand kiwis, try a handful of pistachios or tart cherries. They're the only natural sources of melatonin that actually work. The 4-7-8 breathing technique knocks most people out within 3 minutes. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, forcing your body into rest mode. Do this while pressing your tongue against the ridge behind your front teeth. This position, borrowed from ancient yoga, stimulates a nerve that calms your entire system. C. Habit number 5. Watching more than 4 hours of TV daily. The next habit is something 75% of seniors do daily, thinking they're being social and informed. But in reality, watching more than 4 hours of TV might be eating your brain faster than any disease could. The University of London studied 3,500 adults over age 50 for 6 years, tracking their TV habits in cognitive decline. People who watched more than 4 hours daily had an 8% decline in verbal memory. Those who watched more than 7 hours daily showed brain changes identical to Alzheimer's patients. Their brains literally started showing the same patterns of deterioration. Television puts your brain in a passive state worse than sleeping. When you sleep, your brain is incredibly active, processing memories and cleaning out toxins. When you watch TV, your brain waves slow to almost nothing. It's like putting your brain in a coma while you're awake. Researchers call this cognitive sedentarism, and it's more dangerous than physical inactivity. The type of content matters enormously. News programs are the worst offenders. A study of 14,000 people found that watching negative news for just 14 minutes increased anxiety markers by 67% and cortisol by 43%. Chronic cortisol elevation literally kills neurons in your hippocampus. Game shows and educational programs showed 30% less cognitive decline than news or reality TV. But here's the real kicker. It's not just what you watch, it's how you watch. Binge watching is exponentially worse than spacing out viewing. When you watch more than 2 episodes in a row, your brain stops forming distinct memories. Everything blurs together. The University of Texas found that binge watchers had double the rate of cognitive decline compared to moderate viewers. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production for up to 3 hours after viewing. This destroys your sleep quality even if you fall asleep easily. Poor sleep quality increases dementia risk by 33% according to Johns Hopkins research. If you must watch TV, wear blue light blocking glasses that filter at least 90% of blue wavelengths. The $20 ones from the pharmacy don't work. You need amber or orange lenses that make everything look yellow. Replace passive watching with interactive activities. If you love stories, try audiobooks while doing something physical, like folding laundry or organizing shelves. Your brain stays active when your hands are busy. Video games, surprisingly, are better than TV.
Studies show that strategic games like chess or puzzle games increase gray matter volume by 12% in just 6 months. Even simple games like Tetris improve spatial reasoning and memory. Set a timer for 2 hours maximum of recreational screen time. When it goes off, do something that requires thinking. Read, do a crossword, call a friend, or learn something new on YouTube. Yes, YouTube can be better than TV if you're actively learning rather than passively consuming. The key is interaction and intention.
D. Habit number 4. Eating processed breakfast foods. Habit number 4 is something you probably did this morning without thinking twice about it. It is eating processed breakfast foods. That innocent-looking bowl of cereal or toast with jam is literally poisoning your brain every morning. The Rush University Medical Center followed 5,000 adults for 5 years, tracking their breakfast habits and cognitive function. People who ate processed breakfast foods had a 28% faster rate of cognitive decline. But when they looked specifically at sugary cereals and pastries, that number jumped to 44%. Here's what happens in your brain when you eat processed breakfast. The refined sugars cause your blood glucose to spike by 200% within 30 minutes. Your pancreas panics and floods your system with insulin. This insulin surge triggers inflammation throughout your body, but especially in your brain. The inflammation damages the blood-brain barrier, the protective shield that keeps toxins out of your brain tissue. Once that barrier is compromised, heavy metals, bacteria, and inflammatory proteins flood into your brain. Dr. Suzanne Delamonte from Brown University calls Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of how closely linked sugar consumption is to brain degeneration. Her research showed that people who consumed more than 25 grams of added sugar at breakfast had brains that looked 8 years older on scans. The average American breakfast contains 47 grams of added sugar. That's almost double the brain danger zone. Artificial sweeteners are even worse. The Boston University School of Medicine found that people who consumed diet sodas or used artificial sweeteners in their morning coffee had triple the risk of dementia and stroke. Aspartame and sucralose trigger the same insulin response as sugar, but without providing energy, leaving your brain starved and inflamed. The perfect brain-protecting breakfast contains 3 elements. First, you need omega-3 fats. These rebuild your neuronal membranes that get damaged throughout the day. Wild-caught salmon, sardines, or mackerel are ideal. If you hate fish, take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed or chia seeds. Second, you need choline from neurotransmitter production. Eggs are the best source. The Framingham Heart Study found that people who ate eggs daily had 47% better cognitive performance. Third, you need antioxidants to fight inflammation. Blueberries contain anthocyanins that cross the blood-brain barrier and protect neurons directly. Here's my brain-saving breakfast formula that takes 5 minutes to make. Scramble 2 eggs in coconut oil, which contains MCTs that your brain uses for instant energy. Add a cup of wild blueberries, not regular ones. Wild blueberries have double the antioxidants. Include half an avocado for monounsaturated fats that improve blood flow to your brain. Sprinkle everything with turmeric and black pepper. The curcumin in turmeric reduces brain inflammation by 48%, but only when combined with black pepper's piperine. If you're rushed, make overnight oats with steel-cut oats, not instant. Steel-cut oats release glucose slowly over 4 hours instead of spiking it in 30 minutes. Add cinnamon, which improves insulin sensitivity by 20%. Mix in walnuts, which look like tiny brains for a reason. They contain DHA, the exact omega-3 your brain needs for repair. E. Habit number 3. Breathing through your mouth. The next habit is so common that 90% of seniors are guilty of it every single day. It is breathing through your mouth. You're probably doing it right now without realizing it. Mouth breathing is silently destroying your brain, and most people have no idea they're even doing it.
The Nagoya University in Japan studied brain scans of chronic mouth breathers versus nose breathers. The mouth breathers had 20% less gray matter in their prefrontal cortex and 30% reduced activity in their hippocampus. Their brains were literally smaller and less active. When you breathe through your mouth, you're bypassing an incredible filtration system. Your nose produces nitric oxide, a molecule that increases oxygen absorption by 18%. Without it, your brain gets less oxygen with every breath. Over years, this oxygen deficit causes neurons to die prematurely. It's like slowly suffocating your brain cells. Mouth breathing also changes your sleep architecture dramatically. Stanford researchers found that mouth breathers get 60% less REM sleep and 70% less deep sleep. Remember, these are the stages where your brain cleans out Alzheimer's-causing proteins. Mouth breathers also have 5 times more sleep apnea events where breathing stops completely. Each apnea event kills thousands of brain cells from oxygen deprivation.
The dry mouth caused by mouth breathing is catastrophic for brain health. Saliva contains antimicrobial proteins that kill harmful bacteria. Without adequate saliva, bacteria multiply and create inflammatory compounds that travel to your brain through your bloodstream. UCLA found that people with chronic dry mouth had 42% more brain inflammation markers. Here's how to retrain yourself to nose breathe. Start with the tongue posture exercise. Your tongue should rest against the roof of your mouth, not the bottom. The tip should touch just behind your front teeth, not against them. This position naturally closes your mouth and opens your nasal passages. Practice this for 2 minutes every hour while awake. Before bed, use mouth tape. I know it sounds scary, but it's completely safe and incredibly effective. Use medical-grade paper tape, not duct tape, obviously. Place a small strip vertically over your lips. Your body won't let you suffocate. If you need to mouth breathe, you'll naturally remove it in your sleep. After 2 weeks, 90% of people naturally keep their mouths closed without tape. Clear your nasal passages before sleep using the Buteyko breathing method. Exhale normally, then pinch your nose and hold your breath. Nod your head up and down slowly until you need to breathe. This creates carbon dioxide buildup that dilates your nasal passages naturally. It works better than any decongestant spray and trains your body to nose breathe. During the day, practice coherent breathing. Breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds, out through your nose for 5 seconds. This rhythm synchronizes your heart rate variability and increases brain blood flow by 25%. Do this for 5 minutes, 3 times daily. Set phone reminders until it becomes automatic. Habit number 2, cooking with the wrong oils. The second worst habit for your brain involves something in your kitchen that you use every day. It is cooking with the wrong oils. Those vegetable oils in your pantry are literally deep frying your brain cells. When researchers at Temple University fed mice canola oil for 6 months, their brains showed Alzheimer's-like damage. They had increased amyloid plaques, damaged neurons, and performed 60% worse on memory tests. The same oils you're told are heart healthy are destroying your brain. Here's the terrifying science. When you heat vegetable oils like canola, corn, soybean, or sunflower oil, they create compounds called aldehydes. These aldehydes are 200 times more toxic than cigarette smoke. They penetrate the blood-brain barrier and trigger massive inflammation. Professor Martin Groupfeld from De Montfort University found that one single meal cooked in vegetable oil produces more aldehydes than the safe daily limit by 20 times. The omega-6 fatty acids in these oils compete with omega-3 fatty acids for space in your cell membranes. The ideal ratio is 1:1. The average American consumes 20:1 in favor of omega-6. This imbalance triggers chronic brain inflammation. The University of California found that people with high omega-6 consumption had 55% faster brain shrinkage and 70% worse performance on cognitive tests. Even worse, these oils oxidize rapidly when exposed to heat, light, or air. That bottle of vegetable oil sitting by your stove is basically rancid poison. Oxidized oils create free radicals that punch holes in your neuron membranes. It's like bullets riddling your brain cells. The damage is cumulative and irreversible. Here's what to use instead. Extra virgin olive oil is liquid gold for your brain, but only if you use it correctly. Never heat it above 320 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 160 degrees Celsius. The phenolic compounds that protect your brain get destroyed at higher temperatures. For high heat cooking, use coconut oil, grass-fed butter, or ghee. These saturated fats remain stable at high temperatures and actually protect your brain. Coconut oil deserves special mention. It contains medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs, that convert directly to ketones, your brain's preferred fuel source. Oxford University gave Alzheimer's patients just 2 tablespoons of coconut oil daily. After 6 months, they showed 20% improvement in cognitive scores. The MCTs bypass damaged glucose metabolism pathways in dementia brains. When buying olive oil, look for harvest dates, not expiration dates. Oil older than 18 months has lost most brain protective compounds. Store it in a dark cupboard, never by the stove. Buy small bottles you'll use within 2 months. The Corona variety from Greece has the highest polyphenol content, up to 5 times more than regular olive oil. For salad dressings and cold uses, flaxseed oil provides incredible brain benefits, but goes rancid within weeks of opening. Buy small bottles, keep them refrigerated, and never heat them. Add a tablespoon to smoothies or drizzle over cooked vegetables after plating.
G. Habit number 1. Social isolation and loneliness. And now for the number 1 brain destroyer that shocked even the researchers who discovered it. It is social isolation and loneliness. This is the demon that nobody talks about, but it's destroying brains faster than all other factors combined. The University of Florida studied 12,000 seniors for 10 years. Those who felt lonely had a 105% increased risk of dementia. Not 5%, not 50%, but 105%. Your risk more than doubles. That Japanese study I mentioned earlier, the 68% increased risk came from eating alone regularly, which is a marker for social isolation. Loneliness literally changes your brain structure. Harvard researchers scanned the brains of lonely versus socially connected people. The lonely brains had smaller gray matter volumes in regions controlling emotion and memory. But here's the kicker. It wasn't about how many people they knew. It was about meaningful connections. You can be surrounded by people and still be lonely. Quality beats quantity every time. When you're lonely, your brain interprets it as a survival threat. Your amygdala, the fear center, becomes hyperactive. It floods your system with cortisol and inflammatory cytokines 24/7. This chronic stress response kills neurons in your hippocampus 50% faster than normal aging. Your brain literally eats itself when you're lonely. The damage happens fast. University College London found that just 1 month of social isolation caused measurable cognitive decline in healthy adults. Their processing speed dropped by 16%. Their executive function decreased by 23%. These changes happened in 30 days. Imagine what years of loneliness does. Here's the science of why social connection protects your brain. When you have meaningful conversations, your brain releases oxytocin and dopamine. These neurotransmitters trigger BDNF production, growing new brain cells.
Complex social interactions activate multiple brain regions simultaneously, creating cognitive reserve. This reserve protects against dementia even if you develop Alzheimer's pathology. But not all social interaction is equal. Superficial small talk doesn't cut it. Your brain needs deep, meaningful exchanges. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that just 10 minutes of meaningful conversation improved cognitive performance as much as doing a crossword puzzle. But the conversation had to involve real listening, empathy, and intellectual engagement. Here's how to combat isolation effectively. Join a group that meets weekly around a shared interest. Book clubs, walking groups, volunteer organizations, or hobby clubs work perfectly. The key is regular scheduled interaction with the same people. Familiarity builds deeper connections over time. Online groups don't provide the same benefits. Your brain needs in-person interaction for maximum protection. If mobility is an issue, technology can help, but only if used correctly. Video calls are 30% better than phone calls for brain stimulation because facial expressions activate mirror neurons. Schedule regular video dates with family or friends. Make them interactive. Play games together. Cook the same recipe simultaneously, or watch shows together while video chatting. Adopt a pet if possible. Pet owners have 24% lower dementia risk. The daily routine, physical touch, and unconditional companionship provide consistent brain stimulation. Dogs are ideal because they force social interaction during walks. Even talking to your pet activates language centers in your brain. Volunteering is the gold standard for brain protection. It combines social interaction, purpose, and cognitive stimulation. Volunteers have 40% lower dementia rates than non-volunteers. Teaching or mentoring provides the most benefit because explaining concepts to others strengthens your own neural pathways. Start conversations with strangers. I know it feels awkward, but your brain loves novelty. New people activate different neural networks than familiar faces. Aim for one meaningful conversation with someone new each week. Ask open-ended questions that require thought, not just yes or no answers. If you're extremely isolated, start small. Call one person today. Not a text, an actual phone call. Your voice centers need activation. Make it someone you haven't talked to in months. The reconnection triggers powerful neuroplasticity. Tomorrow, call someone else. Build momentum gradually. Join a choir or singing group. Singing with others combines social interaction, breathing exercises, and cognitive challenge. Welsh researchers found that choir members had 34% better cognitive function than non-singers. The synchronization required for group singing creates powerful neural connections. The absolute worst thing you can do is accept loneliness as inevitable. Your brain is plastic until the day you die. It can form new connections at any age, but you have to take action. Every day you remain isolated, you're actively choosing cognitive decline. It's harsh, but true. Remember, fixing loneliness isn't about being popular or having hundreds of friends. It's about genuine connection with even just a few people. Quality over quantity, depth over surface. One real friend who you can be vulnerable with protects your brain more than 50 acquaintances. The research is clear-cut. Final advice. These 7 habits are the fastest routes to dementia, but here's the hope. Every single one is reversible. Your brain has incredible plasticity, meaning it can heal and grow new connections at any age. But you have to take action. Every day you remain isolated, you're actively choosing cognitive decline. It's harsh, but true. Remember, fixing loneliness isn't about being popular or having hundreds of friends. It's about genuine connection with even just a few people. Quality over quantity, depth over surface. One real friend who you can be vulnerable with protects your brain more than 50 acquaintances. The research is clear-cut. Final advice. These 7 habits are the fastest routes to dementia, but here's the hope. Every single one is reversible. Your brain has incredible plasticity, meaning it can heal and grow new connections at any age. But you have to take action. Every day you remain isolated, you're actively choosing cognitive decline. It's harsh, but true. Remember, fixing loneliness isn't about being popular or having hundreds of friends. It's about genuine connection with even just a few people. Quality over quantity, depth over surface. One real friend who you can be vulnerable with protects your brain more than 50 acquaintances. The research is clear-cut. Now, we want to hear from you. Which one of these 7 brain-destroying habits surprised you the most, and why? I'm especially curious if you've noticed any memory changes after stopping one of these habits. Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.